Okay, so why would you think about doing a doTERRA business? There's a gazillion reasons and lots of them are good. I was already an oils user, so for me it was sort of a bit of a no-brainer, really. The reason that I decided to do it was because a couple of friends said to me, we're going to do this. Do you want to do it too? Like, okay. Because frankly, the idea of going back into an office and working with people that I had to tolerate, didn't particularly like, because I didn't choose them. Some of them I like, some of them I don't necessarily like. You know how it goes. Or you might quite like your colleagues, but you're working to someone else's agenda way up the tree, and who wants to be doing that? So the thing that's really interesting about the doTERRA business, and it's different to a lot of other things as far as I'm concerned, is it seems to attract people from all over the place, and it helps to facilitates the growth of businesses that are quite diverse, irrespective of what they are. The oil sort of fits in with them. So I know and have people in my team who are from a pretty sciencey background, healthcare professionals, all the way through to people who are just pretty spiritual, pretty woo, out there, kind of, say dead people, for those of you who are into that. So it sort of has, it allows you, because it's got a capacity for you to earn reasonable income from it, the ability to kind of grow in a variety of ways, to do the sorts of things that you absolutely want to do. So for me and the kinds of people that I am attracted to having in my team, it's sole purpose stuff. So I was not put here on the planet, I'm pretty damn sure, to serve the purposes of some of the people that I had to, or that I chose to work for in other places. I want to pursue the things that are most important to me, and they actually have a lot to do with natural health, because natural health, in my opinion, saved my kids. It gave us all back a level of health that we probably couldn't have envisaged, and certainly we were told categorically not to expect. So for me, natural health has been incredibly effective in various forms, and has made a hell of a huge difference to my life and the life of my kids. So that's partly why I'm involved in it. What I'm going to do now is share my screen, and we're going to go through doTERRA's build guide, just so you can see some of the nuts and bolts, the philosophy behind doTERRA, the things that drive them, and whether you can think about whether or not it aligns with what would ideally drive you, and have a look at some of the dollars, see if it's something that you think is doable, and and think about what you might potentially want from this going forward. It might be nothing. It might be that you want to be able to pay for your own oils. It might be that you'd like to become a gazillionaire from having an essential oils business. And let me tell you, there are multiple millionaires selling doTERRA essential oils all over the planet. It really is as big as you want it to be. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is the build guide, ladies and gentlemen. So, build guide, doTERRA overview, first page. Are you ready for financial freedom? What this first page basically goes through on the left-hand side is talking about whether or not you are in an industry where you are setting yourself up so that you have income coming in the door, whether or not you are having to work for it right now. So are you exchanging dollars for, hours for dollars? So basically, unless you're saving up through your superannuation or whatever, you're not having retirement income coming in the door. Or is there a possibility by partnering with doTERRA that you could actually be looking at building a pipe rather than having to keep hauling the buckets, so that you have free-flowing water or free-flowing financial freedom? So are you in the position where you're trading your hours for dollars? That might be working for someone. It might be that you're in a service industry where you are, you're booking in clients, but you earning an income is reliant on you being there to service the client. So if you get sick, there's not necessarily income coming in the door unless you've got those sorts of insurances in place. And that's something really important for lots of us to be thinking of, particularly women, I want to say, because none of us really know where our lives are going to go. And I've had a conversation about this with an Australian senator, as it happens, where we all tend to think that it's going to be fine and hunky-dory until it's not. So building some residual income that's going to come in and keep you and your loved ones going if the going gets tough is something to really think about. So why partner with doTERRA in particular? There's the three main reasons are that they are effective. It's a really effective product or suite of products. That the company itself has an incredibly strong and proven track record, and that they are doing the most incredible, caring, compassionate work around the globe. So they're effective. I'm obviously not going to go into all of the incredible products and what they do and how they can, help you in your day-to-day life, how they can make over your medicine cabinet and detox your home. Not doing all of that now, but understand that they are the most tested essential oils on the market. They go to very great lengths to source them from all over the planet so that they are the most potent, the most effective oils available on the planet. And they are incredibly well trusted. There are over 4.5 million doTERRA customers. 4.5 million doTERRA customers. The quality in the US is called certified pure therapeutic grade. In Australia, it's called certified pure tested grade because the TGA has not yet come to the party. They possibly won't. Their standards are a little bit different to the US's FDA. One of the big differences between doTERRA and any other multi-level marketing company is their retention rate. So in the industry of multi-level marketing, so not necessarily the industry of healthcare, but across multi-level marketing, the retention rate is between 5 and, if they're really fabulous, 15%. doTERRA's retention rate is 65%. I actually think it's north of that. I've heard 70 and more bandied about, but 65 is what they've conservatively printed in the brochure. People come back for these products. In a lot of multi-level marketing companies, they're talking to you about, leading with the business opportunity where you'll have residual income. The concept of it is fantastic. But the product sales depend on the opportunity of being involved in the company and being involved in that particular opportunity. Whereas for doTERRA, it really is just about selling incredibly effective products that people just come back to using, whether or not it's you selling it to them, they just want them. And they sell pretty much regardless of the opportunity that the business side of it presents. Whereas in other companies, really what they're doing is selling the business opportunity. So it's sharing that wellness lifestyle and a detox lifestyle that's really helping people. So doTERRA's growth is proven. They're a privately owned company, which is why you won't necessarily see their profit sitting up against Apple in a lot of on a lot of lists, because Apple is obviously a listed company, whereas doTERRA is privately owned. It's the largest essential oil company in the world. It's in over 120 markets and growing steadily. I think they will go into India next year. They're going into Spain later this year, as far as I understand it. They've recently gone into China. So this particular growth was made before they went into the Chinese and Indian markets, to give you some sense of how enormous the potential for growth is even outside of Australia. And if you have friends who are of those nationalities, I would be talking to them. doTERRA, so that you understand how stable the company is debt-free. It has no outside interest or funding, which gives it not only financial stability, but it gives them stability around the quality of their oils. No one is pushing them to cut corners, because what the company is built on is the quality of the products that they offer. They are part of a $1 trillion wellness industry. They are a $1 billion company. That's hard to get your head around, but understand that the market is enormous and that this is a trusted, proven product. The business leaders from this organisation are incredible. 3 in particular. Dr. David Hill, who is their Chief Medical Officer, is incredible. And one of the first things that I would probably ask you to do as someone coming into the business is to go and have a look at some of his clips on YouTube. He's talking about how they formulated particular products. It is incredibly interesting and will be really enlightening for how you will choose to use products in your day-to-day life, quite aside from how you would share them with other people. Emily Wright, if you look her up on Facebook at Emily Wright doTERRA, she is just the most amazingly warm, heart-driven person who has been, I think, fairly key to how they have engaged with the developing world in sourcing a lot of their products. But big shout out to the CEO, Dave Sterling. I've had the incredible fortune of meeting him and hearing him speak on 2 occasions now. I've only been in the company for 7 months. So they are really dedicated to making sure they include all markets, including Australia, even though they're a US company. They really are an incredible team. So it's worth, if you are one of those people who really wants to go back and do a little bit more homework about the company, have a look at those guys. For me, a big part of being involved in doTERRA is their caring, stuff that they are doing to change the world. They have basically taken that $1 billion company with their eyes on the $1 trillion industry to the poorest people on the planet. What they do is they've gone global to look for the most potent oils on the planet. So, for instance, sandalwood grown in Hawaii contains a particular chemical that is the effective ingredient of sandalwood oil at around 70%. You get sandalwood oil from Australia because it's not native to Australia. It grows well here, but it's not indigenous to Australia. That same constituent ingredient runs at about 10%. So it's a far more effective plant that they can source from Hawaii or from India in sandalwood than they can from Australia. But you can imagine that where something like frankincense, which is indigenously sourced from Somalia, is grown, it's very, very difficult for them to, because of the nature of the climate, but also how impoverished the communities were when they went in to try and source these incredibly potent oils, that they had to go in and do a whole lot of market building, a whole lot of microeconomic loans. But they've done things like build hospitals and schools. They've put in pipelines for fresh water in Haiti, in difficult to access parts of the country. Huge amount of information that's worth looking at on a separate website called Source to You. That is also where they publish all of the information about the therapeutic testing and the potency of each of the oils, all sit over on that Source to You website. And if you want to know a little bit more about any of this, if that's the kind of stuff you want to go digging for, have a look there. The doTERRA pipeline, as they call it, touches many lives. It allows you to grow your pipeline so that you've got income coming in for you, but it also touches the lives of people in places you may never go and will never meet, but they are some of the poorest on the planet. So to me, that's one of the big motivating factors for getting involved in it. This next page shows you a little bit about the nuts and bolts of running a doTERRA business. you just need to be, and they keep going with this pipes analogy. You start over here where you're preparing, where you're just really thinking about, and this usually happens for most people in the first class that they're sitting in. They are sitting there thinking, that'd be really good for my mum. I really need that for my kid. My cousin really needs this. That would really help them with this particular thing they've got going on. And you're starting to already build a mental list of the kinds of people that you would like to share particular things with. You're then inviting them along either to a class, which is a bit more of a formal environment, or you're inviting them to a cup of coffee to discuss how some of these products might work for them, how that, you know, that their guide is healthy can be simple, but to me, in my head, it really is just, it's back to basics. You know, it's all the stuff that our grandparents and our great grandparents knew, but we've forgotten. And because these oils are so potent, you know, an oil being 50 to 70 times more potent than the herbal equivalent, they're so effective that we have access to some of the best stuff possible. We don't really need to go looking for, you know, pharmaceutical options, certainly not in the first instance. You've got to remember, in Australia at the moment, we have 2 million people a week visiting the GP because they don't know where else to turn for very, very basic healthcare. Anyway, you then need to be able to present a little bit about the information, but all of these guides are there with information in them to step you through it so that you can learn it quite quickly, so you can share with, you know, with truth. And you having been involved in using the oils a little bit will allow you to also share your personal experience and be authentic in sharing why these things are good for people to use. Importantly, the fourth part over here is enrolling. The reason that I say it's important is because what it's doing is setting people up with their own wholesale accounts. This means that you don't need to provide a retail service to them. You don't have to hold stock, which is expensive. You are just setting them up with a wholesale account. They buy directly from the company. You receive a commission for what it is that they purchase. So your job is then, this takes a lot of you don't have to set up stuff in a business. You have to set up product. You don't have to set up systems and processes for invoicing. None of that. It's all taken care of for you. Your job is to do this bit over here, to support them, just to work out what it is that they need next. And believe me, there's a lot of people asking a lot of questions every day. And we, as the group that I'm part of, we call ourselves Oily Bits, but we do a lot of that in Facebook groups and in joint sessions, so that there's more than one person. It's not just you supporting the community of people that you're bringing in. It's all of us supporting people. So, you know, there's people putting up posts that say, you know, my kid's got a sore ear. I'm supporting someone who's feeling very anxious at the moment. We're worried about seasickness. Anyone got any suggestions? And people just throw in what they know, throw in their suggestions for that, which books they've looked up, and that kind of thing. So you're supporting your community of people, and you're also starting to support your team, because as you do this for a little while, you'll start to find that there are other people around you going, hey, are you earning some money from that? Is that actually, I'd love to do that too. I'm really interested in it. I love these things. This is amazing. And you do end up then with some people in your team. So your job becomes to support your community and to support your team and to share the oils with new people. That's it. Now, this is the financial part. So this is the nuts and bolts, rubber hitting the road, all of that. Throw in another metaphor anytime you like. Now, this is a chart of averages. This doesn't have to be how it works for you. It might be less than this. It might be more than this. I have varied from this path, you know, as we go. So let me explain the chart to you a little bit. Right along the bottom, you'll see some numbers. They're a little bit teeny tiny, but that's the average months that it has taken people to achieve particular ranks. So remembering you've got a lot of people in here who never particularly set out to achieve ranks at all. They've just been doing it for a while. And it's possible to achieve these ranks more quickly than this and without a huge amount of effort, I have to say. Like, you do need to put in some effort, of course. But I've been surprised at how quickly it's been possible to earn an income. You know, when you're setting up a business for the first time, my expectation is that it would be all expenses for the 12 months, and if I broke even by the end of it, I'd be okay, and then I would start to earn some money. That would be my usual expectation of a business. That is not the case with this. I found that I was in front really quickly, actually, and I wasn't being careful. I wasn't being careful with the amount that I was spending. So I know that other people who've done this incredibly successfully, in fact, I would say one of the most successful people in Australian doTERRA, did this incredibly carefully and made sure she was able to pay for every single oil right from the very beginning and cover her costs, because she simply couldn't afford not to. So that is to say that on average, people who are getting to the rank of elite, and there's a couple of little ranks before that, they're not little ranks, they're also significant. The first sort of, I guess, leadership rank is elite, and at that level you've got that 3K is 3,000 volume that would have been done that month, spent that month, not by you, but by around about 15 people sitting underneath you, some of whom you've enrolled, some of whom potentially other people have enrolled underneath you and underneath them. And if you look at where that money came from, it came from the purple. And we're going to get over to these colours on the right in a moment. But you'll see that as you start to climb up the ranks, where your money comes from changes quite a bit. So you start to earn uni level, and you start to earn leadership bonuses the further up you get, and that becomes a large part of where your income comes from. So in 6 months, by an average of 6 months, people who are trying to grow their business will hit the rank of Premier. That's where they've got 2 executive ranks sitting underneath them, earning $2,000 each. And that person's hitting around a $940 a month average. At Silver, which is where I am at the moment, and I am 7 months, I hit it at 7 months in, the average is 18 months, which is why I'm starting to question it, because I actually think that me getting there in about 7-8 months is probably average, I would think, depending on, you know, where you're putting your time and your resources. And that's at about the 2,200 a month mark. Now, I only hit Silver last month. The first month that I was at Silver, I was not at 2,200. I was a bit less than that. And now I'm looking at Gold. So I've got, at the moment, 3 builders underneath me who are at Elite, and each of them are looking to build themselves to Premier. So they're looking to build themselves to the $930 a month, and that's going to start to put me up into, you know, the $4,000 and $5,000 a month mark. On average, apparently that takes 27 months. I reckon I might be able to knock a bit of time off that, given that I've already given myself a head start. So you can see that if you jump up the ranks and people stick with it and keep growing, they end up, you know, if you end up at a presidential diamond level, you're earning over $100,000 a month. And there are people who are triple presidential diamond. So they're earning, you know, in the millions per year selling essential oils and changing people's lives for the better, in my view. So the structure of the compensation plan is over here on the right. It starts at the bottom with that purple that is called Fast Start, and that is the large majority of what you're earning when you're in your first few months starting a business. They pay you a larger percentage on the first 60 days of an enrolment, of a new enrolment. So it might be 20%, it might be 10%, it might be 5%, depending on where they are placed in your tree and who enrolled them, and the fast start will come to you over the first 60 days of their enrolment. Then you start to earn income from what they call Power of 3 team bonus. And that is where you are rewarded for structuring, because doTERRA is well aware that in a multi-level marketing kind of scenario, you are not actually going to be able to personally look after the basquillions of people that you start to have to look after once you've got 4 and 5 levels in your tree. So they are encouraging you to structure into 3s, so that you've got 3 key people underneath you. Each of those key people have 3 people underneath them, and so on. And that's how you build your business, because then the people underneath you are also supporting the people underneath them. And then this is the kicker. So as you start to get up the rank, you will then start to earn uni-level bonus. And this is a huge amount of where people who hit diamond and blue diamond are starting to earn a lot more money. They're being rewarded in percentage for the amount of people who are sitting in the levels below them. And the further down you go, the more percentage you earn. So it's just basically just encouraging people to look after and enroll further down the tree and not keep people, as close to them as possible, because it's not sustainable for you to manage a business like that over time. And then there's this thing called leadership bonus, and it actually kicks in at Premier these days. It's where they divide 7% of the global volume amongst the leadership ranks. And for this, or you're already starting to get some of this at Premier. It's pretty amazing. There's huge amounts of money being divided amongst a lot of people. So you can imagine at Premier and Silver, there's more Premiers and Silvers than there are blue diamonds and presidential diamonds. So that 1% or 2% has to go a lot further. When you're up at presidential diamond and 1% of global volume is being divided amongst far fewer people, that's a much more significant portion of the income. And you can see that for someone who's presidential diamond, almost half of what they're earning is actually that redistribution of global volume. Maybe 45% is unilevel, and nowhere near as much is Power of 3 and Fast Start. But they are still people who are enrolling people even when they're at presidential diamond. So doTERRA gives you the opportunity to change other people's lives by allowing them to clean up the stuff that they're using as medicine, clean up the stuff that they're using to clean themselves and their showers, what they're using for beauty products, all of that kind of thing, getting hormone disrupting chemicals out of their lives and keeping them well, healthier and happier, in my view. And it also allows you to create an income where you can earn some more money, you can work a bit smarter, and you can do some of the stuff that you really love. And you'll know what is your soul calling at some point. Some people just really want to travel. They just want some extra income so they can travel. Some people are burning to do more study. For me, it's around service. So I want to, really do some advocacy work in a particular area, and I'd like to be able to fund it. And I don't want to have to be able to go, I don't want to have to go back to work to do it. And I want to be able to stay at home and look after my kids in the way that I would like to. So that's why, it aligns with what I want to do. So if you just look over on the right-hand side of the page here, you can see where the amount of income hits how much time you might think you need to put into it, how many people you might be looking at enrolling, how much time that might take you to get there, and what your goal would be. So in a couple of months. And for me, honestly, this was in 1 month. So you can choose to go hard if you want to. You can be paying for your product. You can be paying for your product within a month. And then you're getting all of these products that you want to have anyway, and you're not having to fork out for them. So that's a good thing in and of itself. The next level up is to be able to supplement your income, and you can see the ranks in doTERRA that are around equivalent to that, depending on how much you would want to supplement your income. The number of people you might need to enroll in a month would be around about 4 customers, and maybe you're looking at a builder every month. It hasn't been a builder every month for me, I must say, but you're keeping an eye out, you're allowing people the opportunity, that's all. And then you move on to a place where you are looking to replace your income. Bigger investment in time. You're looking at enrolling, maybe 8 people in a month and maybe 2 builders in a month, which might not be possible in a month. But if you've actually supplemented your income and you're now not working 5 days a week, you're working 3 days a week, then you've got 2 more whole days to invest in your doTERRA business. And you may find that this sort of thing becomes much more possible. And you've also got to remember, it's not necessarily you personally enrolling those 8 people. It's the leaders that you have in your business who are also involved in enrolling those people and finding those builders. So you're not in this alone. It's not an isolating experience building a business from scratch like it is for so many people. It's empowering, and it's part of a team and a group of people who kind of give a shit and are caring about you and cheering you on. And I found it nothing but empowering, to be honest, being part of it. So being part of the group of women in particular that I've chosen to be in this business with. So to launch your business, depending on where you want to go, it's important to understand the products a bit. So to live the products a bit, you need to sort of experience what a presentation is. You might watch one online, you might go along to one, and you'll need to enroll and have an account. You would get a live guide and complete a bit of a lifestyle overview, have a look at the things that you might want some help with, see if there are any products that might be able to help you in your day-to-day, and build some experience so that you're going to be able to speak authentically about the products and how they've helped you. And then you're using your wellness plan. The second area is to think about who else, as you learn about these products and as they are making a difference to you, if they are working for you, thinking about who else that they would be great for. This person needs to know about that. If you're thinking that way, then it's time to start sharing it with those people. And it might be that you just want to practice doing a presentation, you're starting a new business and you want a few friends to come over that you can practice on. It might be that you just want to get a few people around, host a class, offer them a cup of tea, get around someone like me or one of the other builders to actually do the class for you so that you can experience another class. And if you're quite serious about, I want to go, I want to jump in, then book a time with me, with one of the other builders, to go through a launch overview. It's really not scary. It's just about basically deciding where you want to be and giving yourself the space to think about how you might get there. So it's not about saying, I want to be elite within 30 days and I'm going to do it and I'm mama or me. I believe it is about setting an intention and allowing the universe, God, whoever, to provide for that. And if you just start listening and wanting to serve the people around you with the intention of being in a particular place at a certain time, then you will be amazed at what happens. I think when you start pushing and making it about me and I'm going to hold this many classes and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do blah, 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 that's when it starts to become hard work and it becomes difficult for you. If you are thinking about how you can best serve, that's when you will be successful. And this last page is just about thinking about who else you might be able to help. Finally, on the back, they just talk about this business is about bringing hope, not just to you, but to so many people around the world. It's about opening hearts, raising leaders and living dreams. And I actually think it's also just straight up about wellness. So let me get out of this shared screen and talk to you just for a couple more minutes. If any of this rings true for you, if you are, and particularly if you are interested in being supported by a group of women who are just freaking awesome, my upline, the women who are my across lines, and the people who are in my team, and I won't say women because there's a bloke who's also a business builder in my team, chiropractor. Name's Greg. If you're in Sydney, he's awesome. You should go see him. You can buy oils from him as well. It's a truly empowering experience. Using the oils is empowering. You feel better by using them. These products have profoundly changed my children's behaviour, and I mean that not just in a they were naughty and now they're not as naughty kind of way. I mean, when they had terrible meltdowns and didn't know how to control themselves, there were oils that helped them. And when they have wanted to feel less sad, there have been oils that helped them. Quite aside from the fact that when we've got an aching shoulder, there's a blend that helps us with that. When I've got time of the month, there's an oil that helps me with that. All of that stuff is fantastic, and it avoids me having to destroy my microbiome and my kids' microbiome by having to reach for drugs like Panadol and Nurofen that frankly do damage. So, they are unintended side effects, and most of the time we think that those things don't cause harm, but there is quite a bit of evidence that suggests that it does, and I have the medical records of my own children to prove that it does. And I know that when we stick to natural remedies, when we're able to, we're not stupid about it. If the kids really do require something that is, something stronger, then we will give it. But that is so, so rare these days because their bodies are better equipped. Their immune systems work better because we are interfering with their immune systems less and less. And that is an experience I am more than proud to share with other people, and I'm really enjoying building the business. It also means that for me, I can do some of that work around antibiotic resistance and natural health that is sorely needed globally, with tens and hundreds of thousands of people globally dying from antibiotic resistant infections, quite aside from the ones that people don't quite understand, are the chronic conditions that are also being caused by some of these bacteria. So if you are interested in building a business, message me, chat to me, you know where to contact me, Messenger, Facey, whatever, and I'll be more than happy to sit down and have a chat and talk through the launch guide with you and see how it sits with you, what's going to work for you, where you're at. Different people are going to be coming at this from completely different, with different needs and different expectations. And, I'd like to help you get started if that is something that you would like to do. So I'm going to leave it at that. Please get in contact if you would like to. If you would prefer to get in contact with someone who referred you to this clip, so you might be one of my builders' potential clients, get in contact with them. Get in contact with me if you want to, but you might be more comfortable speaking with whoever it is that referred you to this video. Thank you for watching and persevering with it. Let me know if you've got any questions. Have a great rest of your day or evening. Bye.